Hi, everybody. This is Dionna Bailey with the Texas Blockchain Council, and I'm here today with the amazing Peter Vogel from Vogel IT Law. Thank you, Peter. It's great to have you here.
Thanks so much. Happy to be here today.
So before we get started, do you want to give us like a quick background of what you do and your experience?
Well, I've been in the blockchain community for about 8 or 9 years. I've kind of lost track when it first started, but before I studied law, I had a career as a computer programmer and have a master's in computer science. Actually,
Wow.
worked on a PhD here at the UT.
Wow.
And decided I didn't like it, and I went to law school and never intended to be a lawyer. I thought I'd do computer consulting. So when I got out of law school, I did computer consulting in Dallas for a couple of years. And then clients asked me to represent them as a lawyer. So I just hung up a shingle and I was a sole practitioner.
Nice.
So all I've ever done for the more than 30 years is I just represent buyers and sellers of IT and internet services.
Wow. What a fantastic niche to be in, right?
I didn't plan it, but it worked out well. And actually, I'm a trial lawyer. I've had cases in 38 states.
Wow.
And right this minute, I've got a computer fraud and abuse case going on in Pittsburgh. I've got a failed software development project in Collin County.
Wow.
Patent infringement in Collin County.
Well, soon to be an FTX.
Maybe. We'll see. One thing at a time. I don't like bankruptcy a whole lot, but I can deal with it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so since we brought up FTX, if you, from your a little bit of expert opinion, what do you think of that whole? What do you think of what he says about it?
Okay, well, it is a blazing nightmare. I think everyone recognizes that.
Yeah.
But the reality of life is judges and juries don't understand anything about this stuff.
Oh.
So the confusing part is if a judge doesn't understand it, how do you translate these complex technology issues so a judge will understand it? And that's why I've had my trial practice all these years, because I understand the technology and know how to explain it. But I can see the bankruptcy judge in Delaware going, what? What is this?
Yeah. Well, so is it really, I mean, I think there's two parts of it. Is it really just a technological issue, or is there like a larger fraud?
Okay, well, take a step back for a minute.
Okay.
In order to understand what happened, you have to understand the terminology. And
True.
if the terminology doesn't resonate and you don't know what somebody's saying, how do you know what to do? Well, let me change the comment for a minute. I've been doing trial law my whole career. And the one thing I've learned is the house odds at trial, 50-50. Not very good, but it's because you don't know if the judge or jury's going to. I had a trade secret case years ago in Denver, and my client lost. And after the verdict came in, the foreman of the jury sent a letter to my client saying the judge didn't understand trade secrets, but we had no choice but to vote for the other side.
Oh, that's
so
horrible.
I mean, it is just the way it goes.
Yeah, you would think that maybe a little bit of an education would go before.
Well, no. Think about this for a minute. We as lawyers study law.
Right.
Lawyers do not study technology.
That's true.
And so I've been active at the State Bar of Texas. I'm founding chair of the computer technology section of the State Bar. I founded that in 1990. And one of the things that I have always found is that trying to educate somebody else, if you don't speak their language, they don't know what's going on.
Yep.
And my experience has been anybody that's any good with a computer is incapable of having meaningful relation with another human. No, I mean it seriously from this perspective.
That's what I'm laughing. It's funny. I mean, it's true.
No, it is true. I was on an e-discovery panel a couple of years ago, and a guy with a PhD in computer science was sitting next to me, and I made that statement. He couldn't stop laughing. And I said, "Is it really that funny?" And he said, "Just ask my wife."
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure she's the expert on it. So you're very prominent here in Texas, and I understand that you just came from Congress.
Yeah, we had a hearing, an interim. I'm sorry, the Senate. There was a Senate committee that had an interim hearing today on the work group on blockchain report that we issued this week. I'm on that work group that the legislature approved at last session. We gave a report today to the Senate committee, and it was very well received.
Oh,
I was
good.
very, very pleased.
Good.
A number of us testified about what was going on with it, and we got great reception from the Senate.
Oh, that's great. You know, I was in an interview earlier, and I was saying that I feel confident. I mean, we went back and forth about do regulations change? How is it going to happen now that you have, the federal level split between the Dems and the Republicans? Where does this regulation come from? Where does the oversight come from? And I felt very confident that Texas would be the leader, that Governor Abbott would recognize that these things need to happen. And he was smart enough to pull some very intelligent people from the industry around him to guide. And I'm hoping that I'm correct in saying that Texas is going to take the lead and maybe do something to provide some kind of oversight to help some of these complicated issues.
Well, we are working very hard. I mean, all of us at the Texas Blockchain Council, we are working very hard with the legislature, with the governor's office to try and help make sure everybody understands this. Part of the problem and the complication comes in is the United States Congress.
Yes.
What are they going to do? And they don't know what to do about this either. And so they are just, we're going to have conflict between state and federal laws in these areas. It makes it more complicated, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's tough. It's a tough landscape to navigate right now as well, just because the rules don't necessarily apply to the way the technology is being used. So you're trying to teeter, is this okay? Is this not okay? Now, that's not to say what happened with FTX was okay in any sense of the word.
Not in the least.
No.
Reading their bankruptcy filings, it's pretty
unbelievable.
Bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Incredible. Yeah.
And then you think this was a person who was revered by congressmen, who spoke in front of Congress, who was kind of like the poster boy of standards, and to see it all come crashing down, I think we're all just left with the question was how did we get to this point and how do we fix it?
Well, we're not done with this yet. Now, another issue that gives me great heartburn is, and a lot of people don't talk about this for reasons I'm not quite sure I understand, blockchain is dependent on open source software. Open source software means it's not controlled by anybody, and so the bad cyber criminals could, if they wished, build a back door and steal things. And we're seeing cryptocurrency theft all the time.
Yeah. Well, to complicate it, FTX had $500 million stolen, right? 400 something million on top of the crashing down.
Right.
Yeah. And I think you see that with a couple different, exchanges or protocols. And in that sense, do you think that audits help?
Well, I'm very involved with the AICPA SOC reports and doing it because I do a lot with M&A and help that. And when as it applies for the transactions associated with cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin, you still have to somebody has to look at that as an independent third party to try and evaluate whether or not, the cyber protections are proper. I spend a lot of time with cyber security and privacy. And so that's an issue of great concern for many businesses, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. And I find I just got a notification the other day that my information got leaked on the dark web, or somebody got a hold of some of my passwords. And would you kind of equate the issues with crypto and Bitcoin are privacy issues and issues across the board, but for some reason they just get exploited more in crypto because of the monetary value, right? But
well, of course, the reality is the cyber criminals, what they did last week, they're not going to do this week or next week.
No, yeah.
And so from a cyber insurance issue, you got a problem with that. And being able, as the chief information security officer world, which I spend a lot of time in and hang out with, I don't know if you're aware of this, but last I saw, there are more than 1 million jobs around the world available for cybersecurity practitioners.
Wow.
That's how weak we are in cybersecurity.
Wow, it's scary.
That's scary. I know it's scary, very scary. I agree.
Yeah. One of the things that attracted me to crypto and blockchain was I'm retired Army, and I did 18 years and I did 4 tours. And when I went to get out of the Army, the VA is like, okay, where's your medical records? This is what we're going to base your disability on. Well, when we're deployed, we can't be connected to the internet. We never put medical records on the internet because of the vulnerabilities, because somehow somebody could hack in, they could see the strength of force. It would be if they knew half of our force had injuries, they would attack us more. So none of it went online for that reason. And when I saw that blockchain could encrypt things in a way and allow it to be online and maybe protect that privacy, that was really what attracted me to it.
Right. Well, that makes sense. I'll put it this way. I'm back many years ago in the Vietnam era, and I made it all the way to E4.
Oh.
But I was a payroll clerk because I could type.
Yeah.
And I remember all the payroll records. I mean, we just put all that information
Yep.
was there, and it was clearly available. And
Yeah.
so protecting it was really critical.
Yeah.
Today, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And thank you for your service, by the way. I
Well, thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thanks.
Vietnam we're in awe of you guys. You guys did
Well,
a lot for us.
For better or for worse, I never went to Vietnam, but I served in the United States.
That's
but
okay.
Yeah, I know.
You guys made it so when we came home, we never felt alone.
But you know, the crazy part, and it has nothing to do with blockchain or anything else, is the part that was so insane was back then, if you were wearing a military uniform, people would spit on you and
Yeah.
be ugly to you.
Yeah.
And it was so insulting
Yeah.
mentally. And so I'm so thankful today that the military alums are recognized and blessed.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Well-
your service.
Well, thank you guys. You guys are the reason that happened, though, right? And my heart broke because a lot of people got drafted, so they didn't even choose to go, and then they got like bullied when they got back, and it's like, why? It was none of my choice. Like I didn't
Right.
want any of this. It's what happened, and now.
Right.
So thank you for everything. I really appreciate that. To go back, let me think. I had another question. I want to go with that. Oh, so you're the official counsel for the Texas Blockchain
Right.
Council, right?
Yes,
and,
I have.
And you were here last year.
Yes, I was.
And then, have you had a chance to walk around the conference yet today?
I've been
No,
at the
I-
Senate all day,
Sorry,
so
I
I
grabbed
just
you.
got
grabbed
here
you.
this evening.
Well, it's been pretty good so far.
I know, I'm certain of that. I stopped by last night and visited with a bunch of folks when I checked in. So
Is there any particular initiatives that the TBC is doing that you're excited about, or anything that you want to share that's coming up?
Well, I think the initiatives we have for the next legislative session are really going to be positive and help the state of Texas. And I think that we need to be a leader in the country and the world in blockchain and Bitcoin in this state. And I'll say it this way because our work group went to Rockdale on St. Patrick's Day to take a tour of the BitDeer mining operation. And it was really exciting to be there. Actually, it's the old Alcoa plant in Milam County.
Oh, wow.
And my wife grew up about 20 minutes away from that.
She's
in
probably all
Buckholz.
excited.
No, so it was kind of fun because I got to drive over. It was the neighborhood, kind of, so to speak. But why I'm saying that is, if you see the amount of Bitcoin mining that's going on in this state, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah. That's number one, right? We took over New York.
Absolutely.
And I love that because as soon as China shut it down, Governor Abbott pulled all the CEOs from blockchain and crypto into his mansion and said, I'm leaning on you guys to make us number one in the nation. We want to be the standard that blockchain and Bitcoin operates.
I encourage everybody to come to Rockdale and take a look at the old Alcoa plant and see what's going on there, because Chad Harris, who just was speaking just now at the conference here, is running the Riot program there, and it is dynamite.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely.
Oh, I love it. I love it. We'll definitely have to check that out. Anything else that you want to share before we wrap it up and conclude?
No, that's fine.
No?
It's great. Happy to talk to you.
Yeah, awesome. Well,
Appreciate
thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you, and I look forward to seeing what we do together in the Texas
All right.
Blockchain Council.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm Lee Bratcher, the president of the Texas Blockchain Council. Thank you to everyone who came out to this year's summit, helping us make it the best one yet. Now more than ever, we need professional industry associations like the TBC to help craft effective policy instead of the CEOs of centralized exchanges roaming the halls of various state capitals or in DC. Texas is quickly becoming the center of the universe for Bitcoin, blockchain, and digital assets. If you want to be part of the future that we are crafting here in Texas, join the TBC today.